Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to a Division 2 video. The reanimated event is live, and of course from today the 5 times XP event is live as well. You can play with a bunch of builds. A lot of builds are viable because we are hella strong. But I got a build for you that you are gonna enjoy a lot. You can one-shot almost everything and you can still run and gun. You're not sitting in the corner waiting until the enemy walks into your scope. No, you take action and you will take everybody down, running and gunning while we're still shooting with a rifle. Yes, this is a rifle build. This is without any of the gear sets on there. It's just a full high-end build and a perfect combination between the gun, the talents, and of course some new gear and maybe even some named items. You can utilize a bunch of weapons on this build. You can even go for your pistol if you'd like. It all works on this build, and of course this is always a template, so you can change it however you like. I always go for the damage, to seeing that incredible damage numbers. It is a lot of fun to see, but with the damage that we deal with in this event, while the 5 times XP event is going on this weekend, we are already pretty powerful. So you can lose some power for some survivability, and of course turning around some red cores to the blue armor cores to give you a little bit more survivability. Again, this is the way that I play. This is a lot of fun. We've been testing out a bunch of different builds over on Twitch/IamPurePrime, and this is one of my favorites, all not my favorite, and chat keeps asking me to show this build. So that's why we're here, and we're gonna dive right in. Enough intro, enough gameplay, enough rambling. Let's see what I came up with. Of course, we are starting with our specialization. We're running around with attack 50 because we're running around with a rifle. This will give us some more handling and some more headshot damage. It is not needed. If you feel like you have some problems with survivability, you can also go for the minigun. And that will give you that 3% reload faster that we're not really doing it for, but for that survivability will give you that 10% armor on kill. I'm using the tag 50 because it gives me the most movement with my rifle and a little bit extra headshot damage. And for our main weapon, we chose to go for the 1886. It is only proficient, there is no extra expertise on there, so everybody will see these damage numbers or even higher if you of course give the weapon some expertise levels. But overall, this is such a great gun. It's fast. It has 9 bullets in the mag, so that's also great. But that reload time, because we're working with a decent amount of weapon handling to make it easier for us, it is so incredibly fast. I went for damage to armor on this 1886, but preferably I would love to see some damage to target out of cover. I was trying out a few different ones, and unfortunately I deleted my 1886 with damage to target out of cover. So that's why it is damage to armor. It will help you out as well, but the damage to target out of cover will be the better choice. If we scroll down, you can see that my accuracy is up to par, around that 70%. Stability is all the way up. And as you can see, we only have a reload time of 2.07 seconds. So almost 2.1 seconds in reload time, because we have a bunch of extras within our weapon handling. So he reloads 9 bullets in 2 seconds. It's quite fun to see, and it is hella fast. And then of course, the talent. We are going to use Determined. Determined, after killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. So this is not a damage talent. This is just a talent to make sure that our chest piece will keep activating. over to the mods. It's only one mod and I went for that 5% headshot damage. And then for my secondary, I went for the Scorpio. You all know the Scorpio, but you can go for whatever weapon you like. You can go for another rifle, another marksman rifle, whatever you want to go for. I went for the Scorpio because we were playing with a bunch of people together last couple days and we encountered a bunch of rogues, and the Scorpio is always good then. And then for your pistol, you can choose whatever you like as well. I went for the Harvest. This is hands down the best high-end pistol in the game, as the total damage and the RPM are raised on this. Of course, again, I went for Determined on there. Don't forget that you can get this Harvest gun with damage to targets out of cover as well. I found with headshot damage, I'm okay with that now as well. But of course, just like with the main weapon, that damage to target out of cover will be the better choice. The fun thing is then this build will also allow you to run around with the Harvest. It will give us that 245% headshot damage, but of course we need to be a little bit closer to get our Harvest to work. But yes, this build also works around the Harvest. And now that we have been talking about the weapons for a little bit, let me showcase the build, and this is the overview. So we went for 3 pieces of Sviadoka to give us that extra damage for rifles and that weapon handling. We of course went for the knee pads, Fox's Sprayers, for that extra rifle damage, that damage you target out of cover. And we went for the 2 named pieces with the Douglas Harding Punch Drunk and the Walken Harris Chain Killer. Let's start with the Punch Drunk. This will of course give us that extra pistol damage if you want to use your pistol, but mainly I'm doing it for the headshot damage. This gives us an extra 30% headshot damage. Again, because the damage is already sufficient, you can also go for a different setup. For example, you could go for, where is the mask? The Chill Out mask. If you have this with headshot damage like you have, roll that armor core away and you can add 2 more headshot damage mods to this. So this will give you also 30% headshot damage, but because it's Gilligard, it will give you that 5% total armor. And if we look to the left, you'll see that we're almost hitting that 1 million armor. So if you want a little bit more survivability, you think like, I'm not using that pistol, that Chill Out mask is also a very good way to go. Then jumping over to our chest piece. Like I already said, it's the Chain Killer, Walker and Harris, a full reds on there. Everything will be catered towards headshot damage and weapon handling. Of course, the perfect headhunter. After killing an enemy with an headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. The damage is capped at 800% of your weapon damage. This raises to 1250 if your headshot damage is greater than 150. So that's what I also explained while we were talking about the weapons. You need to be at least at 150 to raise that cap from 800 to 1250. So make sure if you hit that 150 headshot damage, after that it doesn't really matter that much what you do with your headshots. I stacked almost fully into it, of course next to some weapon handling. But make sure that your headshot will always be greater than 150, so you will get that extra 450% weapon damage output. Then jumping over to the knee pads, Fox's Sprayers. We all know Fox's Sprayers. Why? For that extra rifle damage, that damage you target out of cover, and again I rolled headshot damage on there. Then over the last 3 pieces, these are all Sviadoka. This gives us a 15% magazine size, a 20% rifle damage, and then at last the 30% weapon handling. I chose to go for this because, like I already said, we are powerful enough, so I rather go for some quality of life. That 30% weapon handling in combination with everything that we already have on this build is insane. You handle your weapon so well, you reload so well, it is so much fun to play with. and quite easy as well. And that's why we went for Sviadoka, the 3 pieces, to of course give us that rifle damage, but also for that extra weapon handling. Again, weapon handling and headshot damage rolled on everything. And we went for the gloves, the Eagle's Grasp. Again, we have enough damage, so I went into quality of life with another 15% weapon handling. These are the named gloves. Usually we can only get 8, but now we have 15% weapon handling. And of course, next to that, I rolled that headshot damage. For the last piece, this is gonna be the backpack of Sviadoka. Weapon handling, headshot damage as a mod on there, and I personally chose to go for the talent Bloodsucker. Like I already said a couple of times today, and I'll probably sound like a broken record, but it's not about the damage. We are doing so much damage with this event already. You can better go for survivability, and that's why I personally chose to go for Bloodsucker. Killing an enemy adds and refreshes a stack of 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds, and the max stack is 10. So in a perfect world, we can get 100% extra armor, giving us all the way up to 1.4 to 1.5 million armor, while we're still running around with a full red build. I'm having a freaking blast with this. Like I already mentioned, we have been testing out a bunch of builds with the pistol, with the MMR, even with the shotguns, and there are a bunch of fun combinations, so I would love to hear what you are rocking. Probably something with Hunter's Fury and headshot damage, or just going into some hotshot. I would love to hear your opinions down below, and also test this out. It's not hard to get together, and it's definitely a fun way to play. Next to that, I personally chose to go for the 2 skills of the Revive Hive, because I am straight up a Revive Hive main. We're still running around with full reds. You can still get taken out, so that's why I'm choosing my Revive Hive. For the second skill, you can use whatever you like. I personally love to use the Pulse, because what is so beautiful about this event and this setup is that we can play it with at least 4 directives active. Yes, you heard it right. You probably saw it in the gameplay as well. Everything that I showed you was on heroic 4 directives. And with the 4 directives, of course, not going into Pistolero because we're not shooting with a pistol, it will, of course, block our sight with the fog of war, so we can't see where people are coming from. That pulse comes in clutch. You know where they're coming from, you can instantly take him down, and I freaking love to use it, especially because we're running around with those 4 directives, getting that extra 100% XP in, and that's why this is one of my favorite builds, especially within this event and that 5 times XP event. You want to fly through those SHD levels as fast as possible. The determined headshot combination is the way to go. And that's pretty much it. We don't really have to look at the stats because we already know. If we go over our weapons, you'll see I have 200% headshot damage. It is not about the crits. It's not about anything else. It's only about the headshot damage. We are one-tapping everybody. And the same, of course, goes for my pistol. If you take out your pistol, we almost have 250% headshot damage. And that's all that matters. Next to, of course, that weapon handling. And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. A little bit longer video, but I wanted to give you some tips how to play, what you can change around with this build. For example, if you don't want to go for that Sviadoka 3rd piece, for that weapon handling, you could also go for the Memento, giving you some more survivability while still keeping that 6 core weapon damage and then getting some extra weapon damage as well, while still having some survivability. This is a great combination as well with the Memento, but I personally love to see me running around with a high-end build like we have now. The Memento's already been used in a lot of different builds. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for sticking until the end. Like the video if you liked the video or helped you out in any way or form. And of course, if you're new here and or you want to be updated by the Division 2, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next one. Pure Prime out.